Here we are, another Friday Night Live, August 18th, 2023. And another beautiful day in the greater Teal. A lot cooler weather today. The temperature dropped up quite a bit, but still warm during the day. Just getting cooler in the evenings. A little bit of rain. A little bit of sun. A little bit of cool. A little bit of warmth. All in the program. It's interesting in living in Canada all these years in Ontario. We've seen some pretty extreme weather changes, like 20, 30 degrees difference in one day, and drop, as the cold comes in, it just sucks all that heat out very quickly. For it to warm up takes, I think, a bit more effort. But yeah. Is it natural? Is it programmed? Only you can decide. Only you can decide. We allow our emotions to rule everything in our lives. Our belief system. It's also ruled by our emotions. We have generations of ancestral lineage that we are part of, and we carry all those emotions. Sometimes we have some strange thoughts and so on and so forth. I know now they can put technologies they have to put thoughts in our minds and so on and so forth, but prior to that, we carry all those ancestral emotions, and we have thoughts that come into our mind. And where are these coming from? And we're carrying all those ancestral emotions. We are more our grandparents than our parents, and more our great grandparents than our parents, and so on and so forth. We are all of those. We have our divine creator, which we all come from, and all these generations of ancestry. Pretty interesting how it all goes back. Pyramid. No straight lines anywhere in nature or in the universe that I know of. There's no straight lines. Is anybody out there? Are we living it and loving it? Are we wrapping our minds and getting ready for the next season change? It's about a month away. Actually, you can start, like 2 weeks before the date, 2 weeks after. So you have a 1 month period. So, in about a week or two time, we can already focus on doing our season change dry. And it's glorified dry fast, right? I mean, if we can focus it more around the 21st of the season change month. Try and run it through that time. But it all works. So try a couple weeks before, try a couple weeks after. That energy is, it takes the time it takes for the conversion of the season changes. That's why we move into, always when we move into the first day, or even the first week of August, the nights get cooler. It hasn't failed for all these years in this part of the world. As soon as it hits August, we feel the air's cooler right away. No ifs, ands, or buts at night. And it's going into the autumn, right? Into fall. We call it fall, autumn. When we moving into winter, same thing, right? And as we move into spring, same thing. Moving to summer, same thing. You know, you have those the 1 month before, 2 weeks before, things really start to balance out for that energy change. And working with them, working with these energies, these natural energies that we are part of, is much easier than resisting them or not working with them. You know, if we resist anything, it just causes blockages. Resist, holding on, right? It's much easier to work with these energies that have limitless power. We're nothing compared to the energies, the fields of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Powerful, powerful energies. You know, there's the cycles of the day. There's the cycles of the week. There's the cycles of the month. There's the cycles of the season change. Cycles of the year. And then you have other cycles like we have a 9-year cycle for every single cell in our body is replaced. The femur is the oldest bone in our body, and that takes the longest. It's the 9 full years for that to be replaced. So we can replace it with older materials and defective materials, or we can choose to rejuvenate and bring it up to date to newer, better materials than what was. And this is all done through fasting lifestyle. I haven't seen anything else to do it. I haven't seen anything that you can take that can do that. It's only done through the grace of God or fasting, which is also a spiritual path. And, you know, we fast for the divine. We don't fast for ourselves. You know, we want to fast to heal. Why? Fast for the divine. The healing happens automatically. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about that at all. As long as we have the faith and the trust in our Creator, our soul will do all the work in the fasting state. How do we know this? Well, we've seen it thousands of times. Thousands. And even if we've only seen it once, even if we haven't seen it, if we have the little understanding through the download that we get, then we know that this is possible. You know, fasting all these years, you know, 3+ decades, 33+ years, I notice certain things when you're fasting, the healing, the hair grows faster, nails grow faster, the skin rejuvenates, and so on and so forth. So when you see this over and over and over again, you go, the common sense logic just says, wow, the art of subtraction truly is the way to rejuvenation. I don't believe there's anything it cannot do. Everything's possible. And with that, belief, that's what we've seen. That's what we've seen, sharing MFS to the world. That's the way I understood it. Everything's possible. And then we started seeing the manifestations of everything is possible over and over and over again in all various forms of whatever design or disease was given to the individual. The more diseases, the more fashionable it is today. The more drugs you're on, the more fashionable. It's a fashion. It's a fad. It's a drama. This is what mankind has got to the point of, nothing matters except drama. What's more fashionable? Here we are, living and loving it, enjoying our life, enjoying each fast, enjoying the journey in general, loving it, just loving it. Learn to love it. Learn to love all the herbs, our wonderful, highly elevated friends. We learn to love the juices. We learn to love the beautiful fruits that we consume to keep the obstructions levels low. Of course, some greens. For most of us, will continue to eat greens, but fruit is fresh, ripe, raw fruit. There's nothing better. My body tells me over and over and over again, go off track. Whoa, back on fruit. No problem with fruit. Even cooked fruit. Cooked fruit, I have no problem with cooked fruit. Raw is not law. For those of you who believe raw is law, I was one of them. Raw is law. It has to be raw. Well, Master Fast, we cook everything to death, right? Everything's cooked to oblivion. But when we're eating, we want to eat raw, mostly raw. That's for sure. But when we want to fix all the damage we've done through corruption lifestyle and through corruption eating and through corruption thoughts and emotions, all these corrupted things that bring us only towards imbalance. We need to do something pretty dramatic, I guess, pretty extreme, in most people's eyes, it looks extreme what we do. Which is living a fasting lifestyle. Fasting lifestyle? What is that? You don't eat? Yeah, we eat. We're fasting regularly. We have a fasting regime daily. We have a window. Weekly we have a window. Monthly we have a window. Season change we have a window. And we keep that happening over and over and over again. Hello, Marco. And we embrace that and love it. We love the art of subtraction. There's nothing that you can add in your life except more love. And how do we love more? We subtract. We purge out all the obstructions and we can love more. We really can. If we accumulate, we're obstructed, constipated, How can we love when we're constipated? How can we love? Excuse me. It's been a long day. How can we love when we're all plugged up? I don't know, but so many people are constipated, even though they don't know that they're constipated. You know, diarrhea. You have a lot of cases of diarrhea, you're constipated, right? It's common sense. Body's last resort to try and purge things out. It's diarrhea. Because body's so constipated. It's desperately trying to move things out because we're not helping it. It's why we're getting diarrhea. And you know, if we're master fasting, you're gonna get bouts of diarrhea and so on and so forth. It's all a blessing as we're purging. It's all a blessing to see things move out. It's nothing quite like a great bowel movement, is there? It's nothing like a great bowel movement. Hey, Conrad. How are you? Can you hear me?
Hi, Gino.
How are
Good. How about yourself?
you? Good, thank you.
Is anybody else with us on board?
There's some people on Facebook.
Let's see.
I can't really see the way that they changed it. Can't see who it is, but we got some people on. It's another wonderful day
Hey,
under our belts. Move into the new day soon in our sleep. So what's happening on your end?
just went for a bike ride. Got burning those carbs, from the fruit. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just living a pretty simple life right now. So I came back from Maui. Part of what instigated that was I dislocated a rib working on the farm over there. Was planting a banana field, just kind of overexerted myself for a few weeks. But then where it gave out was planting a new banana field over there, just digging up a lot of banana babies or the suckers, and using a pickaxe a lot, using this long metal bar, heavy bar called an OO bar to release them from the ground and get them out and replant them. And then just something gave and dislocated a rib. So I've been recovering from that. And yeah, just self-care routine as well. Keeping on track with the raw food lifestyle. Staying in a nutshell. Cleansing the body, deprogramming the mind from all that nonsense clutter we've accumulated over a lifetime, and staying connected to spirit, mind, body, spirit.
Where did you dislocate the rib?
I think 3 places actually, 2 places in the front and 1 place in the back.
Wow, it's painful.
Yeah. The challenging like pain wasn't too bad actually. The challenging thing, the one in the front dislocated. I rested for a week. Just I'd never dislocated anything before. I was just like, oh, this will go away, just rest. But then I started feeling around after a week and noticed, oh wait, that's not in place. Like something was out of place, and it healed out of place, unfortunately, in the front. So just been struggling with that. Thankfully, there's no pain in the front. I still got a pain in the back one. So I got some spine rollers and stuff that I've been working on and loosening that up, and it's slowly but surely improving.
I had experiences with ribs popping out. I don't know if you listened to any of the older videos I was talking about that.
Haven't heard that one.
Well, it's when I went on the high fat stunt, the keto kind of diet, I started popping ribs and SI joints like crazy.
Mm.
And I was at that time I was doing really heavy weights. And that stunt lasted about 2.5 years before I finally snapped out of that nonsense. And I was, it was maybe once I was about at least a year into it, a year and a half is when it started happening. And I was going to chiropractor about every month, getting things popped back into place. So that might be an option to help put into place to relieve, that pain when it's out. And then you got to do the work to allow it to heal and stay in place. But what I found is the fats were a big problem in assisting in weakening the ligaments and everything that holds everything together. So I'm wondering, were you doing high fats? And
No, I was losing weight at the time, but living at the fruit farm over there was doing mostly fruit. And at that point in time, so I had already been losing weight. Then I went exclusively fruit. And at the same time, I was just starting to do some Dr. Robert Morse herbs. I saw a iridologist over there. She recommended like a 4-week protocol, had the herbal tinctures and stuff. I started taking the tinctures while I was still eating the fruits, and just went into heavy. The herbs almost like were like kicking open the door of detoxification. It was already slowly happening, just eating a cleaner lifestyle. But then those just like rammed the door open, and I started to lose even more weight. And that we had that really hard work week that week, and yeah, it just kind of cascaded over itself like that.
yeah, so a lot of changes happen because you change your diet within a few years is nothing really. A few years, there's lots going on.
Yeah.
Different things can trigger that, but I'm just saying that the high fats is what did it for me. This is after being raw for many years, right? A decade, and then going to the high fats, listening to the new science and finding out the way that I needed to find out, that I need to stay away from science as far as I can.
Some people seem to make the high fat work. I have no clue. Like they're doing high vegetable matter and then fat like that. I think his name's Brian Clements or something. The Crockery's Health Institute. He's like preaching. I'm on algae, the blue-green algae. I'm doing like massive amounts of sprouts and green juices, and then fats, and not eating a single piece of sweet fruit because he's got a problem with like if I eat one, I'll eat the whole sort of bushel sort of thing. Maybe that's a part of his challenge, but just like physiologically, I'm like baffled by like or like confused by how people's bodies seem to be functioning on. I've tried a higher fat diet, and my body does not work with high fat. It thrives on the carb.
I don't know. It's just fat is a stimulant. It's addictive. It's very addictive. Like fat, everything fatty. Everybody loves, satiating, satisfying.
Yeah.
Stimulant. It'll give you that false stimulant energy and strength, but that's at a price, at a cost. Let's look at how do people do steroids, or any heavy duty drug that's a stimulant or so on and some people can go on for decades and decades. How does that happen? Only God knows.
Yeah.
The human body is an amazing design, and some of us will feel the effects sooner than others. That's all I see. So when you're living this type of lifestyle, fasting lifestyle, you become more and more and more sensitive, and meaning that your senses are waking up, which is a good thing. Some people think it's negative. I've always seen it as positive. Now I can feel. Thank you. So living this lifestyle, you find things that are not going to do you well. and you can feel like fats. I don't do well on any fats. Grains, I don't do well on grains. You know, the high protein stuff, I can feel pains. You know, high fats, proteins, I can feel pains, and grains, I can feel pains. So, when you're in a numbed out state for decades, you don't know any difference. You're just eating. You're just in a complete numbed out state. You don't feel anything. But is that stuff doing damage? For what I say, absolutely is doing damage. You're just not feeling it because your senses are numbed out. So it's just a matter of time. And, you know, we've seen people live, you know, these type of diets of anything and everything for, you know, long lives, 80, 90 years old. But we're going to see less and less of that because we are seeing less and less of that. That old generation that was built on a strong foundation of natural foods mostly are going, right? They're passing away. And the newer generations are coming in weaker and weaker and weaker is what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they do it, Conrad? That's my answer.
I'm kind of guessing their mechanism for like converting fats into fuel is just more robust. Maybe like you're talking about their genetic code or whatever it is exactly. Like their genetics aren't so messed up, or they just got a stronger gut or something, and they're able to take in the fat and make a use of it as fuel better than others. You know?
Yeah, but this is the science materialistic thinking. That we are a motor that needs fuel to burn. I've let that go a long time ago. So if you're in that thinking, okay, then that'll make sense to you. None of it makes sense to me anymore. None of that stuff. We don't burn fuel like an engine. In my opinion, it doesn't happen that way. V equals P take away O. If you bring that through your brain over and over again, and you start living this lifestyle, you will start to see that V equals P take away O is more of the truth than what they're telling us. Because no, the ultimate truth, what is the ultimate truth? I don't know, maybe one day we'll find out. But V equals P take away O. You remove obstructions, vitality goes up, and you need less food. How does that work? I don't know, go figure.
Do you know any breatharians? Anybody doing that type of lifestyle, like just living on, like, I don't know, sunlight energy and breath and just prana or however whatever words we could use to point at what you're talking about?
Many names people will use: living on prana, living on chi, living on you know, air, living on plasma. There's many names people use of what they're doing versus taking in material foods. They're using other forms of energy. Some people are on liquids only, and there's very few on no liquids and no food. We had Elatom Elimine. He was in Toronto, and we did an interview with him. You can look it up. He's living on no liquids. So is it possible? Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be? Where the realm where we come from, we didn't eat. So when we're coming to this realm, we've been fooled into that we have to eat. And this goes back generations, is carried through ancestrally for many generations. So we believe that. We believe we have to eat and drink or we'll die, right? We believe that. And science tells us that if you don't eat and drink for 3 days, you're dead, right? So I should be dead 10 times over, and many other people should be dead 10 times over. You know, we just it's mind-boggling. You know, we just had somebody here who was through a very dramatic experience. He died 2 times in the hospital. They put him into an artificial coma. And he was on life support for many months, you know, not eating, right? Just on IVs. And they gave him 0% chance to survive, and he's still alive. This is the only way stuff like this happens, is not from what the medical people do. It's from the grace of God that this guy survived. You know, how do you survive all those months, you know, just on IVs and everything? didn't eat any food. So it's interesting, everybody's different belief systems and so on and so forth, and how we interpret it. But I think I mentioned what working in my basement 45 days on just 5 liters of juice on that whole 45 days, nothing else.
Mhm.
I've experienced, is not eating going to make you a more spiritual person and a better person? Absolutely not. That's what people think. But it's possible. It's possible to live a life of not eating. That is certain. It's just got to be. We need to be in a place that we're ready for that, and that we want to do that. Is it something that we are going to put all our heart and soul and say, this is what I'm going to do? I don't think it works that way. I think it's something that we want to do, and then we work towards it, and then when it's ready, our body's ready for that, it happens. It's not something we can force. Absolutely not. You're not going to force doing that. People have died saying that they were breatharians, and then they're not. Their body wasn't ready, because V equals P take away O. If you stop eating and you're obstructive, what happens? We drown in our own filth, right?
Yeah.
The body cannot purge it fast enough, and something stops functioning, whatever gives out. So that's what happens in those cases. The people are not ready to be breatharians.
Yeah.
Living on prana. It's a slow progression, and it'll probably take decades for most people. Moving from heavy foods to lighter foods to lighter foods to liquids to nothing. Some people just stay on liquids. Like I said, living on just no liquids and no food, it's a whole different level than just with liquids. Like, it's a whole different level, because you need to be able to take in your hydration from other means as well. And that's a whole different belief system. Right. So in this realm, we've had people going to that route. I had more of an interest in that before, but right now I'm liking and enjoying my eating and so on and so forth. We'll see where it goes, but we're doing it part-time. We're continuously doing the dry fast cycles and so on and so forth. So we're all living part-time breatharian, even the people that are not, unless they're waking up every hour eating in their sleep. So at night you're not eating anything, right, for those 8 plus or minus hours. And some of us are extending that, right? We suggest everybody do at least 12 hours dry as a lifestyle minimum, and work with that, and go up and down that. But it's a real wonderful, totally different freedom feeling when you're able to just go through day full of energy and not have to stop and drink and eat. It's just a whole different reality. And somebody who is eating every day cannot comprehend anything that we're talking about in that realm. They just can't. They don't have that, knowing or understanding of that, being able to source other forms of energy. There's limitless forms of energy. The best source is from the divine. The plasma love, we call it, from the divine. It's always flowing. Just tap in. That's what we say, right? Just tap in. And the more we learn to tap into that, the more we'll be able to go longer in a dry fast. But first, we're doing the work, cleaning, right? Cleaning out those obstructions. Daily, weekly, monthly, we're cleaning. The years go by, we're cleaning. Can you clean too much? I don't think so. Not in this realm, because we're continuously accumulating through our environments. We're being bombarded left, right, and center. Physically, mentally, emotionally, we're being bombarded all the time, and we're accumulating. So we need vents to stay open and flow. That's all we're doing. The art of subtraction. We're always accumulating, so we want to purge. It's that simple. That's the way we look at it. We don't keep things complicated. We don't worry about vitamins, minerals, and amino acids and all that mumbo jumbo stuff. We don't care about that stuff. Like when, doctors and scientists and nutritionists and all that talk, it sounds like, wow, they really know what they're talking about. To me, it's just mumbo jumbo now. I used to believe all that stuff and I let it all go. I don't want to know that stuff anymore. It just brings me back to confusion. It has its purpose for people maybe going through transitions or whatever. That stuff has its purpose, and I'm not going to mock them or anything, but it's not where I'm at anymore. In this realm, we want to keep things very, very, very simple. Art of subtraction. That's what we focus on. V equals P, take away O. Tune into the divine. Keep the eating mainly fruit, some greens if you like, some veggies if you want. If you want to do a little bit more obstructive, it's up to you. Everybody's going to choose their level of obstructiveness, how obstructive we want to live. Every individual will choose their own level. So if we want to see magic happening, we need to be on the low obstructive level side, right? I mean, magic as in rejuvenation, healing, wild transformations. It's not going to happen in the obstructive level side.
I need help with my kidneys. Do you know my kidneys aren't filtering? Not well, at least.
I had big challenge with kidneys.
Yeah.
So it's going to take some time, and the dry fasting with all what we do, the herbs and everything, is going to really help open you up. Like we had people that were doing all the other stuff, fruits and herbs, and they couldn't get filtering. They came into this realm and they started filtering.
Nice. That's good
Some
to
people
hear.
took, 1, 2, 3 months, some people, before they started filtering. Really locked up, obstructed. It's going to take time. When's it going to happen, Conrad? When the body is ready.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you that. Like I said, some people start filtering right away, and some takes time. I was, looking back, doing almost a decade of raw foods, 100% raw. Looking back in my memory, I don't remember filtering. I don't remember filtering properly. And then when I became aware of it, to get these kidneys to open up, it wasn't easy. It took me a while. It took me, I think, a few months as well before my kidneys started opening up and really starting to filter proper. And the dry fasting is what really made the big change. Dry fasting is how master fasting came to be, and any other things. But master fast is what we call the glorified dry fast. Everything's focused around the dry fast. Everything happens in the dry fasting cycle, even though we don't see it happening inside the dry fasting time. Even though we don't see it happening, when we come out of the dry fasts, things are still happening from that dry fast, right? When we're promoting the 108 days master fast, I used to say it takes at least 2 to 3 months minimum to break that fast. But now, after years and years, I come to the realization, if somebody does 108 days, it's going to take at least a year to break that fast. How do you break a fast? You start pigging out? No, that's the worst thing you can do. So this is what I'm saying. We've seen people born with crooked bones straighten out. Did the bones straighten out during the 108 days? No. They straightened out about a year after that. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Born with crooked bones and they straightened out. But legs crooked, ribs crooked, skull crooked, straightened out. How does that happen?
remove the obstruction.
Yeah, only through the divine that happens.
Yeah, that as well. Of course, the divine source.
Removing, yeah, we're doing the work, and then the divine can do
Yeah.
the work through our soul. I believe it's our soul doing the work, but it's from the divine. Everything's from the divine coming through our soul, and the soul controls our physicality, because that's where we come from, right? We come from a bodiless, formless energy source, which is our soul, and we manifest the physical. So that is why we're in this form and shape. Our soul is what wants this experience. You know, everything that we do in here is because our soul needs to learn something, or our divine creator wants us to learn something. So yeah, it's interesting stuff when we look at it in taking away the focus of matter and looking at the other realm is why things are happening. It becomes more clear for me anyway, because when we're looking at the material realm things, you know, vitamins and minerals and nutrition, calories and fats and amino acids, and it's all limited, and it's all somebody's opinion and theory. But when we leave it in the hands of the divine, it's all open, wide open, and it's vast as the stars, what can happen. So I leave it in the divine's hands, because I went through the physical stuff, I went through the sciences, and I've always got disappointed and was more confused. So I don't want to be in that realm anymore.
The devil's in the details, Gino. My faith lays in the hands of source.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So what you find is the more you go into those details, the more of those details you want, and the more confused you get.
definitely.
Keep it simple, Conrad. That's all I can suggest. I can't tell you what to do. But
Yeah.
all these years of fasting, these 3+ decades, I'm just telling you it's simple. And we don't need to know who, where, when, why, how, and none of that stuff. The only thing we need to know is, what state do I have to put myself into to allow all this wonderful stuff to happen, the fasting state. Okay, so what fasting state, and how do we support the body? Well, what we've found is everything we're doing in Master Fast, all the things we do is everything we've learned from all the wonderful teachers I've had, and everything I've learned from myself fasting and all the people I've guided fasting. This is what Master Fast is. So there's a lot of information that we don't have all the answers, but what we do and how we do it, it works, and it works, and it works. If you live it and you do it, it works. So you can do many other things, and there's all kinds of claims and so on and so forth out there, even with the sciences and everything. But I haven't seen what we've seen in this realm. I haven't seen it out there very much at all. We've seen it happen over and over and over again, like people growing and all the, nerves regenerating, paralyzed guy, not paralyzed anymore. And so many stories. It's just like amazing stuff.
Have you tried fresh grape juice versus the cooked Concord grape juice? Have you experimented with that?
Absolutely.
Can you make any comments, like something about I forget how you were describing on the website, the cooked Concord grape juice had like a plasmatic field or something like that, and was like pooling. I forget all the words over there, but like, can you just give your example of your experience?
When you cook anything, it brings it to a higher order. Not in this realm. Not in this realm. In the other realm, it's in a higher order. So we can utilize that source of energy. But if let's say we cook food and we eat the food. Now, in the other realm, it's in a higher order, but we're dealing with the physicality, which is much more obstructive. In the juice, we found that we're accessing the higher order, and the physical juice is such a powerful solvent, because we don't have any fiber or anything attached to it, just a liquid, and it assists us in purging. So it works, we have the charcoal burnt to death, carbon. We have the tinctures, the alcohol. We have the clay, which is just dirt, right? We have the psyllium husk, which is just dead fiber from the psyllium. Everything we're using is not for the purposes of matter so much, but it's in the higher order form. The psyllium, clay, and charcoal, we're using those. The charcoal has a very strong plasmatic field in the other realm, but also has a physical what's the word I'm looking for? Capability of absorbing. And the clay has a very strong pulling in the physical. The psyllium is binding, so as it's going through, it's helping massaging and pulling things that the fast is loosening up. You take this stuff when you're eating, you're not going to see much happening. When you're doing it in a fasting state, that's because the fasting state is what's doing the work. We're just assisting the fasting state. Everything we use is to assist the fasting state, the herbs, to keep the channels of energies opened and flowing, because mankind today is such in a high obstructive state. If you just fast, man, oh man, is it going to be a tough, horrific ride? People that have decided they know better and don't do their herbs and get into trouble, and then they come back and want help. We don't need to do that. We have the information now to assist us as best we possibly can through the fasting cycle, so we can have an easier time with healing reactions and so on and so forth. So everything we use is to assist the fast. That's all we do. And it's because of where we're at as mankind in general, right? When I started in 1990, I thought people were obstructed back then. Today, we're way more obstructed, way more. It's like there's no comparison. The level of obstructiveness now versus 30 years ago, it's like night and day. And that's why, as I was saying earlier, every generation is being born weaker and weaker and weaker genetically, because of our environment. Environment dictates outcome. External, internal environment dictates outcome. Right? External environments are, the natural environment, the air, soil, water, people we live with, those are environments. And then you have the internal environment, what we consume through our ears, eyes, nose, mouth. These are things that we can partially control. The easiest thing to control is what we, eat and drink. Inside our homes, we could clean the air. We can ozonate the air. They've done, studies where, they've seen people's air quality inside their homes is worse than outside. And these are, people are using chemicals and so on and so forth, and these airtight homes, and it's all concentrated. They don't open windows or whatever. And, all the constructions, things that they use to build the homes, they're off-gassing and so on and so forth. Carpets, if you have carpets, certain paints and whatever.
Everything.
All kinds of stuff.
About everything, if it's not natural. The only off-gassing I want in my lungs is that's coming off the plants, more or less.
Yeah, exactly.
The plants and the dirt and the earth.
Exactly. So, like I said, we can control what we put in our homes, right? We don't have any chemicals, and we, keep things minimal as far as bringing anything, that's going to be off-gassing and so on and so forth. Try and wear more natural clothes, cottons and hemps and linens or whatever. And, you try and get best quality water as you can for making our teas and washing ourselves. And the air, you can clean it with ozone in different ways and filters. And so, we can do a lot of things in today's modern polluted world.
Yeah.
Or we can go out and way out in the country and live outside in nature. But still, we're being sprayed everywhere.
We can only do the best with what we got, Gino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but being out in the country, depending if they're spraying or not, it's going to be much better out there
Yeah.
than it is in any city, especially large cities. Downtown Toronto, the air quality is much worse than up here. It's only a 45-minute drive, and you notice a big difference in the air quality. And this city's getting bigger and bigger all the time. I think it's over 300,000 now. And to go more north, the air quality is better. You keep going north, and whenever we go up, way up north, 2-3 hour drive, and then you come back in the city, you can feel the heaviness as you're coming into the city. There's a big difference in the air quality. Big difference. But like I said, inside our home, we can control it up to a point, right? I love using ozone. Hey, Barbara. Now here's some good news that sounds good and feels good. That's what I'm going for. Thank you. So there's so many things we can do, Barbara. It's infinite things we can do. And, but we need to know what's happening in order to do things to correct all this crap that they're doing to us.
Awareness.
Yeah, be aware. I want to be aware. I want to know what's happening. I'm one of those. A lot of people don't want to know what's happening. They want to put their head in the sand.
No.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But we need to know. We can limit ourselves. We can limit ourselves. But hey, everybody's different, and that's okay. I think maybe women should not be exposed to this. It's more the men should be exposed to this stuff and take care of that stuff. I'd probably be called many things for that or whatever. It doesn't matter. Hey, man, it's we all have different views in ways that we should live and so on and so forth. But if we agree on the fasting lifestyle, this is what we're here to support. And we have many other things that people have benefited from, of information that we've shared, that we've learned through our making mistakes over our lifetime, and from other beautiful teachers. So if we can utilize this information, we can save ourselves a lot of headaches. I can tell you that for sure. People who listened to us and followed, they did very well. People didn't listen to us. We had headaches from people, getting themselves in trouble, not drinking enough, not washing enough, not taking enough herbs, and so on and so forth, to get themselves in trouble. So
is there a maximum amount of juice? I saw like 3 liters was 2 to 3 liters.
I don't think anybody needs to drink more than 3 liters.
Okay.
3.5. I wouldn't want to go more than that, because then you got to remember the body has to deal with all that liquid, right? 3 liters is the maximum. 2 to 3 liters. I've tried in that range. Beautiful. What starts happening as people dry fast? This, we've seen the dry fasting states feel so wonderful, right? And what people do is they start drinking less. A liter and a half. 1 liter. Half a liter. That's all I can drink. And what starts happening? Well, if you read Arnold Harrod's book, the less you drink, the more aggressive the fast. So what does that mean? Well, you start drowning in old filth if your body can't release the obstructions. And that's what happens. And all of a sudden you're in trouble. From 1 second to another, you're in trouble. What do I mean you're in trouble? You can't breathe, whatever, pain, this, that, people rush to the hospital, all kinds of things. The stupid things that could be avoided by following the protocol. Drinking enough, washing enough, taking enough herbs, taking your psyllium, skin brushing, massaging, whatever, movement. Always have movement every day.
Rebounding, good option.
Yeah, rebounding is excellent.
Okay.
You don't have to jump high, right?
Yeah.
Rebound, you just have to bounce to get the lymph moving. Like, if somebody is in a really challenged state, very obstructive and lots of health challenges, and they haven't done any exercise, you don't want to be on a rebound or jumping to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Just bouncing, just get movement, start walking, just movement. Trevor, thank you for wanting to protect women. Our Brittany's put what? Yeah, women need to be protected by the men. I believe that absolutely. So yeah, rebounding, stretching, light exercise. If you're already into heavy duty exercises, and you start fasting lifestyle, you can still do the heavy duty exercise, but you have to be wary about doing like heavy free weights, because when people start fasting, they get lightheaded and dizzy, and some people actually pass out. We've had a couple of people bang their heads. You don't need to do that. When we always say, when you're in a fasting state, if you're new to fasting, before you get off your chair or out of your bed, make sure your horizon's good. Get up slowly. Just get in that habit when you're in a fasting state. It may save your life. You don't want to get up and smash your head. If somebody, starts fasting, they're working on roofing, not a good idea. If they've never fasted, you get lightheaded, you're on a roof, you're coming down. I'm just saying, you're working with heavy equipment or whatever, you have to be prudent. So what does somebody like that do? Start on the levels. Start on, the MasterFast hybrid. Start on 1 day a week. When you're out on your days off, see how it feels. Get used to it. And then start on 2 days. See how it feels. Get used to it. Slowly. You're going to have to do it that unless you're going to put yourself at risk. Barbara, beautiful song on Facebook for.
You still listen to Hanalei, Gino?
Who's
I think
that?
her I think the artist name Hanalei. She
Oh yeah.
In one of your old videos, I turned it on, and that's kind of what triggered me. I'm like, this is like divine calling or everything, because I just spent time with her in Maui.
Oh really?
Yeah, and then I didn't know those songs that were that old of hers, but we were singing some of them out there.
This is way back in our 432 research days.
Like 7-8 years ago, the videos were marked.
Yeah, she got hooked up by somebody that knows us, that we were doing the 432 calls and so on and so forth, and then she released that album. Yeah, way back then.
Yeah,
awesome album. She released a few, I believe. Beautiful. The first one she did in 432 was beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually, I emailed her not too long ago, because I had everything's on hard drives these days, right? I had 2 backups, and I lost all 3 hard drives. How does that happen? 3 hard drives, both backups, and I lost everything, all my songs, everything. Yeah, the digital world can go away like that. Think about that.
Oh, does it even exist? Or are we just attached to it? Being plugged in,
Yeah.
So,
digital world is not the world of the divine, I can tell you that.
oh no, it's a fun plaything and this tool that we get to experience, and I'm so grateful that I get to talk to you through this medium, but it's not the realm that I want to. I know who I serve, and it's not who has manifested these sort of things into this reality.
It's a trap.
Exactly.
It's a trap. We can use it as a tool, great tool, and leave it at that.
It's an addictive tool, to say the least.
Because the stuff that's coming, it's nasty stuff.
Yeah.
People need to be aware, go back to cash, and stay away from as much as you can. But yeah, we've learned a lot and we still know nothing. We still know nothing.
I am no master. I know nothing.
It's an interesting ride, like every single fast is a new experience. Every fast. And we learn from every fast if we pay attention. And I say fast for the divine and pay attention and you will learn something. I've mentioned so many times in the fasting states specifically, and especially in the dry fasting states, you get downloads of beautiful information, especially if you're in nature. It's just amazing stuff you learn. Because why? Because we're all connected. We're all part of the divine. We can't be separated from our creator. We're all connected to that.
Mhm.
And we can get beautiful downloads, all these wonderful, beautiful spiritual teachers and prophets that came to teach us beautiful information. And what do they all teach about? Fasting. There's a good reason, right?
I'll be right back.
Yeah. There's a good reason. From Brittany did a song. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. She just haven't seen her in a while, and she posted one today, right? Yeah. Hope she's doing well. She was going through some challenges and emotional challenges, as we all go through. I've been through quite a ride in the last few years. So it's life happens. Embrace, learn, move on, and allow things to happen. Because if we try and force things, it's never a good thing. Allowing is so much easier. Awesome, Barbara. Awesome. So, any other questions before we sign off?
Probably. Can't bring anything to the forefront now. It'll come up over time. I still I'm the type of person I need to read through the protocol a few times. What I love that it's outlined in a very easy to understand fashion, but I gotta like read it a few times and then almost visualize it in my head that I'm gonna succeed at this sort of thing, and then just open up the avenues, some more maybe one-on-ones or something, iridology, herbal protocol sort of stuff, and yeah, get all those sort of bases lined up, so that I can have a successful master fast.
This is the way to do it, Conrad. Take your time. A lot of people come to us that they're on their deathbed and they want everything yesterday. Nothing can be rushed. You gotta put the time and energy and learn. And sometimes people don't have the energy when they come to us, and they're relying on somebody else, and that doesn't work great. Third party access is not a good thing. And it can work in very, very, very few instances, and if they're both on board. But from my experience, third party help is, if it is to be, it's up to me. This is the way it happens. We're all going to jump the fence, as I say, eventually, and jumping the fence while massive fasting, I can assure you it's gonna be much more pleasant than being in a hospital bed.
Oh yeah. That's not the road I want to take. I'm here to heal the damage that I've done to the body over the 30, almost 35 years I've been on this earth. My intestines are so messed up, man. I just was coming off of another 40-day juice cleanse. Approximately 40 days. I didn't really count it yet. But what I did track was all in more detail this time than the first time, was all the junk that was coming out of me. And all those little like pockets or those little shapes of things that you can tell were stored in pockets, so I'm like trying to purge that stuff out, get that tone of the lining back in, and heal that gut lining, heal the gut in general, and heal my body, get my kidneys filtering, the whole thing.
It all happened in time.
Yeah, slowly but surely. And being led one day at a time to beautiful people like you who have done the work. I'm here to as well humbly stand on the shoulders of those who came before me and look ahead to a brighter future and create a better world here for us.
Don't stay too long. I can't carry that much weight.
I'm a light guy. I need to put on some weight too.
I can carry the world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gino.
All right, everyone. I will see you back on the page. Enjoy your rest of your weekend and keep that plasma love always flowing. Live it, love it, embrace, jump for joy when you have healing reactions. Ciao.